What up, guys? I know most of my videos have been pretty positive surrounding the Hawk 250, as I really like it and I've been happy with it as my first bike, but I thought we'd switch it up today and talk about the things that I don't like about this thing. Now, number one is gonna be something that kind of encapsulates a few things, and it's gonna set the mark for the rest of the video. And it's the fact that you have to mod this thing so heavily to get it to where you really would want it as a reliable first bike. There's no question about it. If you're gonna buy this bike as a first bike, you're gonna want to do a bunch of things to it to make sure it's at the spot where it's safe and comfortable for you to ride on the street. And by stock, that's just not the case. So most of my reasons in this video are gonna ignore the modifications that I have done already, as they're all pretty much a part of this first reason. With that being said, the reason number two, or the number two thing that I hate the most about this bike, is the plastics. They look all right to the untrained eye, but they're actually pretty bad. They have like imperfections on the actual plastics themselves. The way that you put them on the bike is super ragged. Sometimes they don't pop in all the way. Like the back left plastic just will not stay in. The little rubbers that you push the plastics into get all beat up and melted. It's a very disappointing situation with the plastics, to say the least. From a distance they look fine, and I've never had anybody say anything about them, but just me personally looking at it, I'm not happy with them. The third thing would have to be the speed, or should I say lack of speed. This is a very slow bike. By default, I believe it's 15 horsepower. That is very slow. We're talking about lawnmower speeds. So this is not the type of thing where you're going to be super satisfied at the mid, at the low, or the high range in terms of speed. So if you're somebody who's really chasing that, which I don't recommend, you're really not going to be happy with this bike. It's more for a comfortable ride, somebody that kind of wants to chill. And have a bike that's kind of going to keep them out of trouble for the most part. The fourth thing, which I've been complaining about in damn near every video since I got this bike, is the horrendous seat. It is just awful. It's got some super low quality foam. It's got this really big hump in the back of it. It feels soft when you first sit on it, but then everything compresses so quickly, it gets pushed down to like, might as well be sitting on a plastic board. It is just atrocious. After about 45 minutes on this thing, your ass will undoubtedly hurt. I don't think I've ever seen anyone not complain about the seat. There are other options that you can buy that'll replace it, but the one on CSC is like 250 bucks, and it just makes the seat lower. It doesn't seem like it's that much more comfortable. What I see a lot of people do is modding their seat. They take off the cover, cut out the hump and a square part so they can put in like a gel insert, and I'm thinking about doing that in the future. But right now, the thing I hate the most is probably the seat. The fifth thing has to be the stock suspension. It is truly awful. You will be bouncing for 30 seconds after hitting a bump. The front shocks have a weird amount of travel, some kind of mystery fork oil. They rebound really slowly, but don't rebound all the way back up. And sometimes it seems like they'll react to bumps completely differently depending on what the oil is thinking. I don't know what's going on with the front forks, but it has got a very odd characteristic to it. Definitely not something I would consider safe for very spirited riding. The rear shock by default is a pogo stick. That's the only way to put it. If you hit a bump, you'll be bouncing all over the place. I replaced my rear shock with a new shock that made it marginally better. It lowered the bike a little bit, stiffened up the spring, a little bit less travel, feels more balanced overall, but it's still not perfect, and it's something that I had to mod. So if you're somebody who likes to get on the twisties, or that's one of the first things you want to do if you get on a bike, which I also don't recommend, I wouldn't buy this bike for really hitting the turns hard or driving super aggressively. It is not gonna get that done for you. With all that being said, I do not regret my purchase at all. I think it's a perfect starter bike for somebody who's looking for a bike that's going to keep them at low speeds and teach them a lot about bikes and how to work on them, and be fairly easy to work on everything at a low cost if you fuck anything up. All the parts are cheap and the bike is cheap itself, which I think is a very important part of buying a first bike, is your overall investment. So yeah, I'm gonna get some gas and hit the gym. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Peace.